brother Mzolisto ngizokufaka esigele. This is Champas Nomzolisto. This is This Day in History.
Referred to the Dwight Eisenhower administration and of course Congo acting through Central Intelligence, which is the CIA, actually are the guys that somehow managed through politics and manipulation to be able to assassinate Patrice Lumumba, who was the first democratically elected prime minister Yase Congo. And of course they were also aided in a way, or rather a participation by the man who became a president later on, Yakona, which is Mobutu Sese Seko. Technically, Congo never recovered after that. Up to today, there's still war over here and over there. There's political parties that do not agree. There are tribal issues there, and it's a very rich country that could harvest itself and make a lot of money, but it's even difficult to mine in a situation whereby AK-47 Abantu Bayalwa. And this of course was aided also mostly by the Belgian government, which under King Leopold, they basically had Congo, that Congo region as their background, whereby they harvested Amataski, they harvested Ikumba Zeilwane. Unfortunately, there was also a tree that creates rubber, so a lot of families were basically taken in as slaves, and they were made and forced to harvest rubber, in which of course if you did not bring a certain amount of rubber that month, they would cut your hands off, which later on became a trend. Yama rebels, whereby if you vote in other countries, they just cut your hands off your voting hand. So those things were also influenced by the issues of the things that were being done by white people in certain parts of Africa. So basically CIA later on wanted to have a conversation about the fact that they had actually participated through the United Nations conference, that they had actually participated and aided the assassination of Patrice Lumumba, who the Belgians called the Red-Eyed Devil. So in 2002, somehow they had to admit that Patrice Lumumba was actually being assassinated, and then an amount of 13.2 million was actually contributed to aid the trust fund Patrice Lumumba and see if Congo would actually through that see democracy. But sadly most people feel that they don't. That's why you see a lot of Congolese in South Africa, because sometimes you can kill one person in a country and basically ruin the whole thing. La a country in the assassination of the kids that died in 1976, including the famous one, Hector Peterson, resulted in basically Soweto going into fire, and a monument like this was erected later on to commemorate the youth that died there, but it's basically called the Hector Peterson Memorial. I'm sure in Congo there's something like that in other parts of the world that commemorate Ubaba Patrice Lumumba, but many Congolese will tell you now that had he not died, maybe Congo would have been a different thing. Maybe it would have been the South Africa that we have now and we've had since 1994. Maybe it would have been like that from the 60s all the way now. Maybe they wouldn't have had a civil war. There would have been more varsities and more roads. Things would have been bombed and destroyed. Families would have been killed. Wouldn't have been killed. But basically, with Lumumba participating in the aiding of a democracy in Congo, it became a problem and a thorn to the people who were in power then, which was the Belgian. Then they organized the assassination. As a result, Congolese are scattered all over the world trying to forage and make a living for themselves instead of being home. It's unimaginable you'd be outside home and your father and literally go and grow in another country because you'd rather avoid a civil war. That is what is happening. Up to Manje, people are being killed in Congo because the latest democratic elections basically aided nothing, because the current president is still in power, Ukabila, even though he basically lost the elections. This is as late as last year when he refused to get off power. Nobabaka was president for quite a while. Now he was killed under questionable situations. So every country has got a couple of those people whereby when they get killed, it basically changes the diaspora and the signage of the whole country. Tina, in our country, the killing of this boy and a lot of kids that were killed in that day basically let people lose their cool, and they went into a fight, and then at some point the apartheid government had to sit down with our leaders, those who were in jail and those who were in exile, and discuss the possibility of a democratic South Africa. It was either that or we go into a civil war.
This is Champas Nomzolisto. This is This Day in History.
Only on Massive Metro.